Hey, it's Steven again. Um, so, video number 2. Um, Before I get going too far, I do want to shout out my daughter, who I did not mention during my first video. I got sidetracked um, talking about life and such. But oh my gosh, y'all! And I was kind of ill too. Had some post nasal. I think that's why I was doing the whole, popping my lips thing. But anyway, that's all an aside. Welcome back. Um, this is building from Rubble, and I'm trying to talk about starting fresh. Um, you know, uh, in my last video, I mentioned that things had changed. You get on a track and you're like, oh, my life is going such and such place. And, uh, I mentioned healthy relationships and how it takes two healthy people to do that. Um, I'm really trying to get healthy. So some of the tools I'm using is I am really committed to connecting with others, um, creating community, just kind of plugging myself in socially because that's important. Not just for me, for humans. I am an introvert, INTP here. So I do love my alone time very much. It feeds me, but I also need to bump up against other humans. And to that end, I've got a few things I'm plugged into. Some of you can probably imagine. But outside of that, I'm trying to. I've been boxing, which is kind of fun because I've always kind of focused on Asian martial arts, Tai Chi, and that sort of thing. I'm contemplating some Muay Thai, but I've been boxing and I've really been digging it. It's tough, man, and I've been doing some calisthenics as well. Uh, I'm doing a basic, I believe it's called a PPLC, push, pull, legs, core calisthenics plan. I started off doing push ups, ring rows, skater squats, and hanging leg raises. And I was struggling at first because I was overweight. I had mentioned I was drinking and I was eating like crap. I had gotten up to like 249 pounds, the biggest I've ever been in my life. I used to do triathlons in place, y'all. So things went south. My lab numbers were off the chart in all kinds of ways. But I've been doing for a little over 7 months of calisthenics. I kind of got, I wrapped up the one I told you about, and I'm kind of moving into a new realm with PPLC, and I'm doing dips, pull-ups, pistol squats, and what should be skin the cat, but I'm really just doing toe to bar because I'm not there yet. And a lot of that stuff is assisted. The pull-ups are assisted. pistol squats are definitely assisted. Y'all, those are tough. I thought because I had gotten to pretty good numbers with the other regimen that I was going to be like, no problem, but surprise. And I do that 3 days a week, and then on the off days in between that, I was walking, and I've switched to jumping rope. I'm kind of thinking I want to get some runs in. I've managed to drop down to 222 pounds. I got a physical on Monday, whatever, I don't know, today's the 21st. I'll probably post this tomorrow, but happy Father's Day, happy summer, everybody. But everything was good, man. All my numbers came back in the green. So my lymphos, some of the stuff that is like you're just getting over an infection. Like I said, that last video, I was kind of struggling a little bit with some kind of respiratory funk. But yeah, I came from a place where I was drinking so much. I mean, I was drinking every single day, not necessarily like, oh shit, not necessarily to the point of, blacking out or anything, although that was not necessarily out of the question. I was just drinking every day. And that stuff is poison, it turns out. And it was destroying me. It was, like I said, occasionally I was kind of drinking to the point of like blacking out and just doing embarrassing stuff. And just generally was not a nice person. And that's not me, man. That's not who I am. I am a nice person. Why does this light keep going out? I guess I need to charge some stuff here more than I thought. So yeah, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Also, there it goes again. I was smoking cannabis like every single day, and that stuff is, again, like my lungs. I couldn't, I was coughing. I had a chronic cough. And just, like I said, y'all, I just wasn't well in general. And I felt unwell. I remember sitting in my chair in my bedroom at the house with the lady I just ended a relationship with. And I was drinking my neat smoky scotch, and had just smoked a bowl of weed, and was just sitting there and just thinking, is this really what you want? Is alcohol really serving you? And I knew the answer. I mean, people who have to ask that question, I think they already know the answer. Shortly after that, I went to the coast. I was gonna surf with a surfer buddy of mine. We actually dropped some acid, and side quest never wound up surfing that trip. But we definitely took a trip. But the whole time, that medicine was telling me, Stephen, you need to stop drinking. It's not serving you. You need to stop drinking. It is not serving you. And like literally a month later, I wound up getting into some trouble. I'm going to use a little bit of language here, but one of a good friend of mine who is the therapist, says the sound he makes before he grows is usually, oh shit. And so I had my oh shit moment, wake up call. And, that kind of set the, I had already set an avalanche in motion. And then, I quit drinking, and it's fun, it's funny, you quit drinking and you're like, oh, I want all this whole entire avalanche that I've set in motion to stop. And the avalanche of stuff that I set in motion had all the energy of an avalanche behind it. And so you can't just be like, hey, stop, life, change. The avalanche, things have to fall where they fall, man. And then from that rubble, right, we can build a foundation, we can build a new temple, and that is what I'm trying to do. And so I hope you all will join me on this journey. Like I said, I'm going to try to post at least once a week. I want to focus on growth. I want to touch on some subjects. I do believe, I have come to believe in something bigger than little old me that has got me. I don't believe it. I know it. And so I may talk a little bit about that. So if that is offensive, then I hope you'll either look past it or, find what you're looking for. At some point, I'm wanting to talk about an author that I've recently read about. Her name is Ida Craddock, and she wrote a book called Heavenly Bridegrooms, and she talks about the tradition of angelic lovers. So I do hope to touch on that a little bit. A connection to the divine that is specific to each person, and has its own name, and it has your number, and she talks about, a very much an ecstatic union, a marriage with her angel lover, her named Soph. So much, it was such an ecstatic union for her that the neighbors would complain because of, basically she was having sex with this angel and it was rocking her world, and she was a little too loud about it. So I do tend towards an ecstatic belief system. I do tend to believe that people who tend to abuse alcohol and drugs are on the path of a misguided mystic, and what they're really essentially going for is this sort of ecstatic union that does exist. And I think at some perhaps unconscious level, they know it. So, at some point, I may want to delve in a little bit deeper into that topic. It's kind of on my radar. It's been on my radar for years, but yeah, there's something there. But so the boxing, the calisthenics, the ecstatic union with the divine, if you will, and the various traditions of that, and just general wellness. So like I said before, keep coming back, man. I hope we can all grow together. and build from whatever foundation we're currently working with.